The Italians had to struggle. The Irish had to struggle. So America has had struggles to find itself. Now America is being redefined. That's my point. Our presence is redefining America. Now, I've heard my critics say, Farrakhan, you're a separatist, and we want a pluralistic society. Well, I certainly hope you do, because we did not separate ourselves. It seemed like a real separatist separated us. Now they want to put the blame on us. We couldn't be buried in the same cemetery with them. We couldn't go to the same toilet with them. We couldn't drink out of the same fountain with them. So don't tell us about separation. We couldn't live in a neighborhood with them without suffering, brickbats and burning of our homes and whatnot. So don't tell us about separation. We couldn't go to your schools. We had to have our own school. Don't tell us about separation. Black people wanted to worship with you, but you made it so difficult for us, we had to leave you alone and organize our own churches. Let's see. Now, I don't think that the present leadership in America is on a path to make America beautiful. I wish that I could sit with the president and help him, because I think he's getting very bad advice. I wrote him a letter that I'm hoping, and I thank Mr. Jude Winniski, because I sent my letter that I sent to the president also to him, because he's a political economist and he knows all the big shots. And so he said, I'll get your letter to the president and to Colin Powell through other channels. And when I would write President Clinton, I would get an answer. May not have been the answer I was looking for, but at least I got an answer. I wrote Mr. Bush, and I don't know whether he got the letter or not. But I was telling him that I'm writing you from my prison. What prison? A prison not of bars, but a prison constructed for me out of my passion for truth and justice. I'm labeled as anti-American, anti-white, anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, anti-gay, and that propaganda has put me in a prison. So I wrote him like Joseph spoke to Pharaoh, out of prison. I know this Pharaoh don't only have troubling dreams, he has troubling realities. But I wanted him to know that we have paid a price, that this country is ours. And we don't feel that we are out of place to speak truth to power, because this is as much ours as anybody's, since the blood of our fathers soaks the soil of America, and we have died on every foreign battlefield to preserve a freedom that we have yet to enjoy. I didn't want my letter to become public, because sometimes people write to the president and make it an open letter for their own vanity's sake. I wanted this to be a private communication between myself and him. I wanted to counsel him. And I wanted to warn him that God had shown me what was in his mind. And I was telling him what I know of his future plans, and what the consequences would be if he pursued what he got in his mind. Now, some people may say, if you disagree with your president, you are not patriotic, because this is a great flag-waving time, you know. If you don't have it on your car or on your windows or a big flag in front of your house, you might be stopped by the police and ask, "Where's your flag?" Not really, of course. And some people think that it is patriotic to be with your president. Wait. And he said, if you're not with me and us, you're with the terrorists. He don't give us any wiggle room. Well, we're not with you, and we are not any terrorists. And Jude Winniski said, well, after 10 weeks and no answer, he called me one day and said, "Minister Farrakhan, I did not ask your permission. I sent it up on my website, and I sent your letter to about 300 journalists, and we'll see, because some may not like certain things you said in your letter, and they might not even give it to him. So by making it public now, we feel he might get the message." Well, all right. Now that it's out there, I can discuss it. This is my country. I accept ownership. I can live anywhere on the earth. I'm a citizen of the earth, and many countries would love to have me. I said to President Bush, and it was very respectful, I said, "Sir, you are in the position of the vicegerent of God." Now, the word vicegerent in Arabic is like the word Khalifa. He's over everybody, he got power, but there's somebody over him. And that's what, in drunkenness, he can forget. Pharaoh forgot. You see where he ended up. Okay. So I said to the president, there is no Muslim leader on this earth who can call for a holy war against America. Not one. I said, but on the other hand, President Bush, you can summon the whole Muslim world against the West by how you handle this war on terrorism. Now, I want you to think about this. I told him, if you go after Iraq, your coalition is going to fall apart. And it's falling apart right now as we speak. For them to send Secretary of State Colin Powell to Congress to tell the members of Congress that we may have to go it alone. Stop it right now. In good conscience. Fearing only Allah. I cannot allow them to use the American soldiers, black, brown, and poor white, to fight a war that is unjust and wrong. You can give the soldiers higher pay. Like every tyrant, he always wants the army with him. But Mr. Bush's daughters are not going there. Mr. Cheney's not going, neither his family. Mr. Rumsfeld, Mr. Wolfowitz. But these little black babies that couldn't find justice in the streets of America were asked to be all that they could never be and join the U.S. Army. And now you want to send them to topple the president of Iraq? Well, he's a bad man. He's trying to get weapons of mass destruction. Who said so? You've been in his country for over 8 years looking for weapons of mass destruction. You haven't found them yet. I heard the Secretary of State today threatening Iraq. We are prepared to use diplomatic, economic, and even military if Saddam Hussein doesn't open up his country and allow us to come in and inspect for weapons of mass destruction. Now, is America saying no nation on the earth should have these weapons? But America, England, France, and Israel should have this? What are you saying? You want the rest of the world weak so you can dominate them and hold a threat of nuclear weapons over them that they cannot fire back at you? I'm just reasoning with you. I don't think any nation should have weapons of mass destruction, including America, England, France, and Israel, and anybody that has them. I just want you to reason with me. I visited Iraq. My wife, myself, my son, and several of the members of the nation. Since the war was over 1.5 million Iraqis have died, and they're dying every day because the dirty bombs that American propagandists said the Taliban and Al-Qaeda were developing. America dropped those kinds of bombs on Iraq, bombs that have in their tips depleted uranium. They dropped more bombs on Iraq than on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, maybe 10 times. Children are dying every day from different kinds of cancers. I saw a shelter where old men and women and children were in the shelter when the bombs were dropped. And America dropped a bomb that had a drill on it. And it drilled a hole into that bomb shelter. Then another bomb came down behind it and exploded and incinerated everybody in the place. We saw the engraving of women and children in the walls. This is why I say to the members of Congress, don't let people tell you you shouldn't travel. Go to the places where they're telling you they're rogue nations. Don't let them give you intelligence from the CIA and you accept it. These are liars and deceivers. God doesn't like cowards. He loves those who are patient and steadfast under trial. He's clear in the Bible and in the Quran, me and me alone should you fear. And if you're afraid of Bush, then you've set up a God beside God and are unworthy of God. Fear nobody but God. I said to the president, that you could have access to whatever you need from the world. Nations would give you access with joy if you would be fair with them and allow what you get from them to get a decent price so that they can improve the quality of life of their people. Colin Powell said, listen to his words, the war on terrorism must fight against poverty and disease, because poverty and disease breeds the terrorists. Half-truth. Certainly we must fight against poverty and disease. But it's not just poverty and disease that breeds terrorists. It's the policies of a nation that allows other nations to be poor. And we rise to richness at the expense of the peoples of the world. That is not right.